So everyone, I'm just slipping into doing some work on my 6 years. I know I'm supposed to be doing more work on my E30 right now, but I need to sort this out. So the headlight bulb decided to go on the driver's side of the car, and I think I know why. It's because of all the condensation that has started to develop in there. So I've stripped the car down. I've done the video on how to remove the bumper, and removing the bumper in the previous video. I'll put the link to it, maybe somewhere on the video or in the link down below in the description area. So yeah, let me show you guys how you remove the headlight real quick. So there's literally 4 bolts that hold it into place. One here which you need to use, I think it's an 18mm to hold the adjuster here, and then it's a 8mm nut. Sorry, an 8mm bolt that needs to be removed. You've got Torx bolts just over here. I think the T25s. Let me see if I can find it. So there's a T27, I think it is. T27 that you need to use to remove those. And then that's all basically removed. And I think, I'm not exactly sure how it's gotten so wet. Let me show you guys the amount of water that came out of it. So all of this water, I'm just going to try and get the lighting to show it all. And there's a lot on my shoes. Yeah, ignore the shoes, they're really crap. But it literally just got that wet. So I'm just going to let this dry out now before I put it in. I got a feeling what's ended up happening is water's basically been able to, the gasket that normally runs across here from the top eyebrow part, that had a bit of a gap in it. So I think what's happened is as I was driving, this area was just getting soaked, and it was allowing a little bit of water to come through more than the weep holes, which are just here. There's one here and one on this side. Now they allow some form of moisture to come out, but because there was loads coming in instead of just a little bit, it was just too much for the headlight to handle, and it was just getting really condensed. It was just getting really humidified and just developing water in essence just inside the headlight, which it wasn't allowing itself to get out. So I'm going to clean up this area. I'm going to clean up the other one as well. I've got some double-sided tape that I'm going to apply here. It's black. It's like a nice thin little couple of mil. While I'm also doing that, I'm also going to make sure when I'm putting the headlight back on, I'm pushing it up all the way up to the top to make sure that that gap isn't there, because that's the only thing I could think of that has allowed all of that water to come through. So, because any water around here, that would all just trickle out and trickle back down. But anything up here, it could have a chance of just getting through these gaps here. Literally, that's the only thing I could think of. Everything else in the car, like on the headlight, doesn't show any cracks or anything like that. So I know this bit's a bit wet right now, but water does land there. But yeah, that's all I could think of. So let's just clean up this area, get all that done, and I'll show you guys the finished result in a second. So this is the strip that I've just put on here. I'm just gonna obviously take the seal off at the top afterwards. But that should be the right space and area for where this and the eyelid touch each other. Fingers crossed this will be enough. It's only a couple of, about 1.5 mil, I would say, thickness. So it's enough, especially because I'm going to be putting it on nice and tight. The weather is absolutely lovely. So yeah, this is exactly why I've managed to get most of the condensation. I haven't tried to get all of it out. Because I'm hoping the weep holes and everything that will stop. I'm hoping the weep holes will fix all of that. So once the headlights and everything are on and everything's warmed up in there, it'll slowly, eventually get rid of all of that. So now I'm just gonna fit everything back on. I just wanted to show you guys this as well. Hold up. That is water condensation on the xenon ballast. So I think this might have been fried, but I'm going to try and save it. Going to let it dry out and everything, and then take it from there. Literally so much water just came out. All of that water came out from this. Not good. Not good at all. So it got late last night. I didn't finish up the car or anything like that. But fun fact from drying up the ballast and everything like that, the headlight is starting to work. It actually wasn't the bulb that went, it was purely just the ballast that went. I think the water getting into it just causes all kinds of issues, so fingers crossed I won't let that happen again. So that was, let's just say, it was interesting. It was very interesting to have that issue, but it's all good. Now I've managed to obviously test it all out, got it all in place. I'm gonna now look at putting everything back together, getting the car nice and sorted, and then yeah, being able to drive the car around. I'm gonna test it out, make sure that there's no gap at the top, so no water can't get into that. I'm just gonna literally on the other side, I'm just gonna undo the bolts and just lift it up a little bit just to make sure it is at the top, to never have this issue again, because this is a very long process to deal with this. So yeah, let's carry on with that now. Just a quick update for you guys. What I've actually had to do is I've added 3 layers of this double-sided sticky black foam tape. Reason being is when I was putting it on, I was noticing there's still a gap just up here. You can kind of see where there's an old gasket kind of like thing that's supposed to reduce this gap between it, but that perished away and it's kind of become more brittle. As you can see, that little piece that just fell off there. So that's basically what you're trying to replicate here. Now I think this should be really good because it's just that much more absorbent. I think this is just the perfect amount that you need. So once I've tightened it all up, I'll show you guys how it looks and just how easy it is to live with. And here is the finished result. You can, well, the old stuff is still starting to break off and stuff, but the gap has basically been filled up. You got to work on it quite a lot in terms of measuring it. Like, you know, you got to really lift it as hard as you can, and then you got to like try and get these in. So luckily I've got this, which I got off eBay, nice and cheap. So while I was lifting, instead of having to use a ratchet or anything like that, just, you know, and then yeah, so I'll put a link for this down below in the description. I think I got it off eBay or Amazon, can't remember which one, but the link will be there. But yeah, so that's that side now done. I can figure out the rest of the bumper and put it all back on. I'll update later on in the description as to how well this stood up, because it's winter time coming up soon in the UK, and as you all know, winter in the UK can be very wet. So it's going to be a good test for this to make sure that it does stick to what I'm expecting it to. Fingers crossed that'll be all good, because that ballast could have been real bad news if that carried on getting more wet and anything like that. I could have been looking for a new ballast now. So fingers crossed this all goes well. So let me put everything back together. So everyone, I got my brother filming this right now for me. So we were investigating why one of my sensors don't work. Even though I changed it to a new one, blah blah blah, it still wasn't working. So what I figured out is, when the guy was fitting on the front splitter, he must have cut through this. So you can see the cables coming through. Woo. Thanks bro for the awesome zooming in.
Anytime.
Much appreciated. So now I gotta do that, fix it and sort it all out. I thought I'd document this just to make sure people know exactly what does happen with this car. This shouldn't really be a problem if you have a car of your own. Just be careful when you're you know, drilling in your front splitter if you are gonna get one. But yeah, that's basically a quick little update for you guys. So there we are everyone, the car is now back on the ground, bumper and everything is back on. Checked all the sensors before I put the car back together basically. So that's all good and happy days, it's all working perfectly. So I hope this helps anyone who does have an issue with their headlights or with the parking sensors or anything like that. Just double check everything, figure out what's going wrong and then deal with it from there. For now guys, I hope you guys, you know, yeah. But yeah guys, I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video. Make sure you hit subscribe if you want to see more content from me. Like if you found this video informative or useful in any ways. And leave me a comment if you'd like to do so. See you guys later. Peace out.